What's up, Raiders? Bionic here. Welcome to today's Raid Shadow Legends video. I've got some cool information for you guys today. I'm going on 19 months of free-to-play in this game, free-to-play content creator since the 16th month. Okay, so I do get some perks. I do progress faster. I want to make that clear. But still, I think you guys will enjoy hearing this. I now have a somewhat complete roster. What does that mean? I mean, I have enough champions to do almost all the faction wars. I'm going on about 720 stars, I'm gonna say. Let's check it real quick. 722. Okay, and there's 819 total, which means I'm starting to have full teams for literally all the faction wars in the game right now, which I am now considering the ultimate end game, right? We want to get Lydia, so I'm focusing on this. So now that I'm forced to somewhat like make a team for each of them, I thought it would be interesting to give you guys sort of like my top 10 most powerful champions. You might wonder, what does that mean? What's the most powerful champions? Well, there's two ways you can look at this. We can literally go by power, and then I can give you guys my top 10. Or we can look at my top 10 most important powerful champions. And I think there's a big difference, right? If we just look at power, that might not tell you much. Why? Because it is very easy to accumulate power if you stack crit rate and resistance. That does not make a champion, okay? Those stats are important, don't get me wrong, but it does not necessarily mean that that champion will be literally an S tier or a game changer for you, okay? So instead, what I want to do today is give you guys an overview of what it looks like after that amount of time for an account like my own, and sort of like which champions have been making the biggest difference. I, not too long ago, did a video called my top 15 game changers. This is similar, but it's also a little bit different in the sense that some of these champions are actually very strong at the same time because of the way they're geared, right? So we're gonna get going, but first let me tell you what it would look like if I were to do this list literally from top to bottom, from just the most powerful overall. Okay, so Skull Lord right now is the strongest champion by power on my account. He is by no means the most useful, but it's because I've stacked so much resistance on this guy, using him in Tag Arena only and Faction Wars. The next one would be very similar, although a very powerful champion. It would be my Sile of the Drakes, sitting at 70,000 total power. Again, stacking a lot of resistance for Tag Arena and Faction Wars. In Faction Wars 21, she's awesome. She can be really useful in some dungeons as well. I just never needed her for my progression because I was past that point when she became available, right? Next one would be something like Muscly Mage, again here, stacking resistance, okay? So you kind of see what I'm trying to say here is that even if I stack resistance on a lot of my champions, it doesn't necessarily make them the best. Don't get me wrong, Muscly Mage is an awesome champion to have overall, enables a seer quite a bit, also has the block buffs, debuffs, sorry, but this is supposed to be placed first. It never is. He's placing this after the other two. It's causing the players to get frozen. So like, I don't know. I'm not convinced he's working as intended, but still very powerful. Then we would have going still on power. It would be like Tormund. Then it would be something like Rhodos. I think that my next one is Brachus, Xavier, Foley. Then it just keeps going down. At some point, I think I got Rosin, which is pretty strong as well. Zorgala is pretty strong as well. We got 53,000, 51,000. Okay, so you kind of see what I'm saying. Again, what I'm going to do though is go over some of the best ones that are not necessarily the most powerful and quickly explain why. And again, you guys can use this as a point of reference so that as you're trying to grow your account, what makes the biggest difference, okay? So first one is going to be Arbiter. Absolutely, I think getting Arbiter is the ultimate first goal in this game. It's all the missions. Right now, I get that new players cannot progress as easily, but she's a game changer for that turn meter increase and that revive, as well as combining that with the increased attack. This is something that is really, really hard to get in this game, okay? The next one would be Tormund. Tormund simply because he's a great crowd control champion that has the ability to provoke, freeze, and if you put a stun set on him, on top of that, stun, okay? I really, really like this champion. You guys maybe remember this list right here. I have covered some of the best crowd control champions in the game. Obviously, Tormund is on this list, or at least for some of these, right? And that is something that I take into account. When I'm picking sort of like these best champions, it's because they're bringing something unique to the table, right? I had also somewhat presented this chart at some point. Maybe you guys remember this, but this is sort of like a overall sort of like strategy that you can use for each of the keeps, the dungeons, the clan boss, and the arena. So again, I'm sort of putting this into context by picking these 10 champions, okay? So back to the list, then we had Arbiter, Tormund. Next one would be Battle Khazar, okay? So this one is a lot less accessible. It's an S tier champion, but the cleanse, the 2 poisons, along with the passive, is just a game changer across the board. This guy can solo Dragon 20, he can solo Minotaur, he's essential for clan boss teams unless you have Unkillable. He is so good, not to mention the unique aura to 25% increased crit rate in all battles. I mean, this guy is just literally one of the best champions in the game, still is, obviously a big game changer on my account as well. Then we have Rhodos and Foley, okay? I'm gonna do them both because they're both fusions, they're both magic affinity. Even post-nerf, I think Rhodos is still quite viable. If anything, if he has slightly better stats, he's going to continue to one-shot champions right off the bat without increased attack. It's a little bit harder. I can change to Helm Smasher. Maybe that would help a little bit. I love mine in Relentless. I will keep him in Relentless, but still, right? Definitely worthy of being still maxed out. Foley, I'm loving him, especially now that Rhodos was nerfed. It means that Foley is maybe that much more important, but this guy can 2-shot a Rhodos as well if they don't have a shield. I love his passive. Again, passives are very strong in this game, so you're going to start to see a pattern here. Passive on Tormund, passive on Rhodos, passive on Foley, okay? And I use him as my farmer. Dedicated nuker for classic arena as well, really strong. Then we have yet another really good passive champion. It's Harvest Jack, okay, with the ability to strip the buffs. Really strong. And then what I love the most about him is this skill right here, one of the best in the game, crowd control skills. Even though True Fear is not my favorite, but combine this with decreased speed and turn meter reduction, this is huge. This is one of my first champions to have really good shield set, and I continue to use him even in classic arena, tag arena, obviously faction wars as well. This guy can probably solo Minotaur 15 as well, in maybe immortal pieces, I would assume, but like he's really strong. Then we have we're gonna move on to the epics now. I'm gonna say Seer. Seer is very unique. She is hard to build for her to be effective everywhere. Mine is currently mainly built for dungeons, okay? She's in almost all my speedruns and 3 of my Dungeon 20 teams, and it's mainly for this skill right here, Karma Burn. I'm not going to go over it too much. You guys know this by now. If I were to get more accuracy, which I would love to do, she would also be pretty efficient in the arena, but at 242, it's on the low side, okay, for high gold 4 or for like tag arena gold 2, 3, 4 and up, right? So but still really strong champion. I wish you guys get one as soon as possible, especially if you have a Muscly Mage, or perhaps even with the new champion that we have available right now, okay? Then we're going to have my first counterattack champion, and still my favorite compared to even Martyr. Okay, don't get me wrong, Martyr is a great champion overall. She's very useful. She can carry you through a lot of the game, but I got Martyr very late. I already had a Skull Crusher. He's relatively well built, and I still use him most of the time compared to my Martyr, okay? So mainly because of his stats overall, but also it's because of this ally protection, okay? Which is harder to obtain than it is to obtain an increased defense. I can get increased defense elsewhere. It's hard for me to get that ally protection, and it makes a huge difference, okay? So for that reason, Skull Crusher will be on my list. Again, aside from Valkyrie, I think Skull Crusher is probably slightly better because of that. Don't shoot me for saying that, but still, that's just my opinion, okay? And then we're going to have one that I got very late in the game, a very simple champion. It was literally a gimme in the first battle pass. It is Stag Knight. I mean, the second I got this guy, I maxed him out, even so late in the game. AoE decreased defense on the Spirit Affinity, when War Maiden is your only other really accessible champion for AoE decreased defense. Stag Knight is the champion that made the entire difference for me for my level 20 dungeon runs, okay? So he is in Ice Golem and Fire Knight, also has the decreased attack, which is huge. It was really hard for me to find a champion that had both of these combined together for my dungeon runs to be a little bit faster or safer, where I can go more glass cannon, less survivability because I have the decreased attack, okay? So on a 3-turn cooldown as well. I think that's the crucial part here, is that It's on a 3-turn cooldown. Also, very interesting A1, very useful for Fire Knight yet again. Decreased speed, again, very useful there as well. Okay, so Stag Knight, I'm gonna say, is one of my most powerful champions, or most used champions, even though his power is really, really low, okay? And I even built him with a shield set, because the way I'm using him in Tag Arena, and also the way I'm using him with a Seer, I need some extra buffs, okay? So I just decided that, you know what, Stag Knight is gonna get a shield set for now. And then finally, the last one, or should I say, the last 3? Currently last 2 though, it is Cold Hearts. Cold Hearts, in my opinion, are the best in the game when it comes to enemy max HP and turn meter control. This skill is just a game changer, right? Everybody wants a Cold Heart regardless of how old their account is. You want at least 1, if not 2. Heck, I was using 3 at some point. I might go back to using 3, but I think that 2 is somewhat enough. Her kit is just so good, so good. Fire Knight, we've got Spider as well. I was using them in Clan Boss early on, especially if you have 2. They kind of work together to apply poison debuffs. Really solid champions. And heck, mine are not geared with crazy gear, right? It's basically some of the gear that I use as I was leveling up or progressing with my account, but they still make a huge difference even today. I tried to gear both of them almost identically. We have crit rate, attack, and speed. Okay, speed, crit rate, attack, it's literally the same thing. So if anything, it's easy for me to swap pieces around when I'm trying to like keep their stats very close to one another. Okay, you can kind of see, look at total HP, right? Literally the same thing. One is a lot slower compared to the other one. They're not that slow. There's a reason for that. It's to stagger the A3. It is important that you try to do that for some dungeons, especially like Fire Knight, even for the Spider. At some point when I had the third one was at like 152 speed or something like that. Okay, so you kind of see what I'm trying to do here, but still, Cold Hearts, even this late in the game, are still crucial. Very solid on any account. Okay, so guys, I think you get the picture here. I'm not trying to literally tell you that every champion here is necessarily a game changer for me, or that the most powerful wins. It's sort of like, what do they bring to the table? Which brings me back to this right here, or even this part right here. What exactly are you looking for on your account in the long run? Things I've just covered, okay? So crowd control, enemy max HP, turn meter increase, the ability to remove buffs, okay? Right here, I haven't covered those champions right now. That is coming, so stick around, subscribe to the channel. We are going to cover all these. If not, all these sort of like debuffs or crowd control have been covered on my channel before. It's called like the top 5 stun champions, top 5 sleep, top 5 true fear. It's all on my channel. You can go check it out. Let me know what you think. But yeah, so that's basically it. Okay, so I want to know what you guys think about all this. Do you agree with my selection of top 10? I'll just go over them real quick again. We had Arbiter, Tormund, then I said Battle, Khazar, Rhodos, Foley. I had Jack. Looking at my notes here, making sure I'm on track. We got Seer, Skull Crusher, Stag Knight right here, and then 2 Cold Hearts. All right, so thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will catch you guys later.